It's not you.
You see it, they can't get enough. They just take until it kills them.
Turns out your friend the Jackal's got a huge stockpile of weapons hidden on the island near Port Salaya.
Hello and welcome back to Frank's Penance. Last time we saw a little bit of drama there. We're basically in a new region as a result of the APR taking over the last region of South Mali we were wandering around in. So now that we're here, we have been tasked with making this region unstable. Essentially, both because the contractors in the area need there to be a conflict in order to keep their business going, and perhaps somewhat philosophically, following on from the Jackal's ideas, keeping the war going so that it attracts all of the warlike individuals in the world to take part in this conflict, essentially quarantining those people in one part of the world so that they don't spread violence elsewhere. The interesting mission that the Jackal at least appears to be on. We don't know at this stage, if that's just some sort of excuse he is using to justify the fact he's making an immense personal profit from this war. Anyway, what we need to do is go and find some of the Jackal's weapons, which someone apparently has found on an island nearby. We're going to take those weapons to a port, not this place we're in now, but another large ceasefire zone. Just distribute the weapons under the name of the APR in the hope that this will cause the UFLL to get their gear together and restart the war, because at the moment the APR have the upper hand and the UFLL aren't really fighting properly. So let's go and find those weapons and see where we can go from there. The crew of Ko's ship was divided into two groups. First was the decent guys, the front of house faces that did the dealing and kept everything under control. Second was the rabble of barely literate deckhands who did all the dirty work. Can you guess which group I was in? There must have been around 30 guys in all, about 10 of which spoke English and about 2 of which noticed I was even new on board. Obviously they turned over new crew members too fast to bother with an introduction. Most of the English guys were like Ko, hardened and cunning, sporting thick Southern Irish accents. My border accent was enough for me to be dismissed as a wannabe. No true Republican could be from so far north. But of course I didn't really care about the Republic anymore. There was a tingle of loyalty left, a sense that the Irish struggle was something I could still make a difference in, but I'd forsaken that path. I resolved to live with the new one. And at first, I must say, it was pretty fucking hard to live with since I didn't have any sea legs. Spent half the time trying not to look like I was going to vomit while my stomach had other ideas. The first sleepless night was the worst. By the next day, I could at least walk around. I didn't really have any duties on the ship since no one even cared I was there. I guess the work aspect of the smuggling wouldn't come until we reached somewhere willing to buy 100 crates of salty guns and ammo. Of course, this cargo was hidden beneath a legit cargo of old clothes. I gathered we were meant to be disguised as a boat taking charity donations to some needy location. Checking out the forged documentation lying around the place, I discovered that Sevastopol was our destination. Didn't mean anything to me. It could have been some tiny island in the Pacific for all I knew. I managed to get someone to explain that it was just a port and that our real destination would be reached over land. What was that destination? Everyone told me to ask Ko, but I wasn't willing to risk being psyched out by talking to him anymore. I just wanted to do my part of the bargain and then jump out into the first part of the world that looked like they could take me. Still, I didn't really have a plan. I mean, I didn't even have any money, nor skills that might suit me for gainful employment. But I was thinking that I spoke English and had nothing to lose, and that this was enough to get me by. Well, I was actually right, but it wasn't on this particular voyage that I would learn that. The voyage was going to take a few weeks, so I had to settle into that little community of deviants for the time being. There was one guy who told me he was deep in with the IRA and had been on the run from the police for a while. Sounded like we had something in common, so I came to hang out with him a fair bit. I joined into his rants about the English dogs and told him some spruced up versions of my own IRA stories. He was a really good guy, friendly and way less dumb than me. It was finally someone I felt like I could be comfortable around. He called himself Rourke. He was the first person I shook hands with without thinking I was about to be pulled onto a knife. He was slightly older than me, better looking but more rough. He was warm enough to his friends that one night I decided to talk to someone about what I was doing and went to find him in the mess. I admitted to him that I didn't know if I was being a massive idiot or just a big idiot. I was anxious about leaving my obligations behind because I had this notion that they would find me again. Rourke knew exactly what I meant. He'd been through the same thing, abandoning his family to go hardcore with the IRA. I'm now just approaching the location where this boat is supposedly hidden. It's in this little river in the middle of an island, a pretty sneaky location actually, and there we can see the boat. It's a large rectangular barge with tons of weapons just lying on the deck. So it looks like it's the business. The plan should work. We're going to take this to Port Saleo, which we went past on the way here, dump off the weapons and see what happens. The area itself looks pretty clear of enemies. I thought I might have to fight some guys to get the weapons, but it seems they're still secret for now. So let's head on board and see what's going on. There's loads of turrets and ammunition lying around on board the boat, which suggests something is going to go down once we take the boat or when we get to Port Saleo. So I'm going to head into the cabin and see who's captaining this particular ship.
Bit of God, right? I'm Shan Young. When we make delivery, we do it quick. Lots of guns we deliver here. Port Saleo will get very bad very fast. When we pull into dock, go to clinic, find Dr. Obua. Warn him, lots of dead and wounded tonight. He has to get ready. If you want, you meet me on the other side of Lake Segolo, safer over there. Time to go. You get on deck. Watch for men with guns.
Well, at least we're going to warn them about the fact a civil war is about to start in their town. That's nice enough. So I'm supposed to get out and guard this boat from the guys with guns, as Shang Yong put it, who are on the way. So that's pretty much what's to be expected. I took the rocket launcher hanging around, thinking that if we're attacked by boats, I might be able to use the rockets. It's going to be more useful than a dart rifle, which is a silent sniper rifle, essentially more useful for stealth assaults on locations. So these turrets lying around the place are pointing in all directions, and they look different to normal turrets we've seen so far, because these are actually grenade launcher turrets. Pretty damn powerful actually. They have a low rate of fire, but each shot explodes on impact. They explode way off in the distance there. So this could be pretty useful. I think it's designed to take out enemy boats as they arrive. Now I spotted a tiny bit of movement up ahead. There are some guys on the rocks over there. I managed to take them out before they even saw me. I sort of shot their legs with the grenades. So I think that was the first enemy supposed to attack me. We've got rid of him pretty damn fast. So as we come out onto the open water, I need to look out for more guys. On the right there's a bunch of guys. It's pretty damn hard to hit them because I need to get a direct shot with the grenade launcher. Luckily the impact on that rock kills two of the enemies and we're now okay. So we're continuing on. I need to check both sides to see if the enemy are actually attacking me from behind, because the arc of that turret isn't large enough. A rocket hits me from somewhere in the front and it sets off tons of the ammunition behind me, so I've just lost some of my ammunition supplies, and there's still an RPG guy out there somewhere. I'm also taking gunfire from that forest in the distance. I'm bombarding the forest with grenades. Suddenly a mortar lands right by me. I'm almost out of health now. So the enemy have a mortar team somewhere who've got me zeroed. You'll notice the boat has stopped. This is because every time the boat takes damage you have to repair it before it moves. But before I did that, I wanted to try and take out these guys who are bombarding me with mortars and rockets. The rocket guy is somewhere in the distance. I didn't manage to kill him with all those grenades I fired. I can't see him, but I'm getting really damaged by the rockets. He just keeps firing at me. I looked very closely at the screen and managed to spot him in the distance. And a few bursts of my AK-47 eventually took him out. Then we get visited by some enemies on a boat. Then that green smoke which just appeared around me, that means a mortar shell is about to hit you. The game gives you a little warning when you're about to be killed by a mortar. And I just about survived, managed to get my health back, repairing my broken ankle and using a Surette to go back up to max. The next mortar shell is due to hit the boat, but I need to get this boat moving, so we need to start repairing this little exposed engine section here. The mortar shell misses, or at least if it hits the boat, it doesn't matter, because whilst I'm regenerating its health, it can't be damaged. So now we're moving again. I have no idea where the mortar is firing from, which means I can't take it out. If you look in the sky when mortars are falling, you can actually vaguely tell the direction it's coming from. But in this case, I'm too worried firing at things on the ground. Took out that enemy boat pretty easily, but then got hit by another mortar. There's one boat to the left and another boat in front. I'm pretty low on health, so I didn't want to get onto the exposed gun and fire at it for now. Now I'm back to full health. I'm going to annihilate them with a quick burst from my AK-47. They're pretty close, so I can easily take them out. Didn't manage to finish off that boat. Another mortar shell hits me. You can see I've got almost no health. Need to repair this broken arm, get back up to health. I've only got 2 Surettes left as well, so it's getting pretty dangerous. Take out the last enemy on that boat. Now the boats are cleared out. Our boat is still very damaged. I need to repair it before I can move. I thought I'd hide under this little roof section and thought if the mortars land on top of the boat it won't damage me. I was wrong. As you can see, I still lost all my health when a mortar landed on top. It also set off the ammunition, which damaged me even more, and I've lost my bank of ammunition, so now I just have to work with what I've got. And I've only got one Surette left, and so far I haven't found any health. I assumed there'd be one of those banks of health on the wall somewhere, but I couldn't find one. Another mortar strike almost kills me. I'm going to pull the shard out of my leg. I'm back to 2 bars of health and still only 1 Surette. I'm going to use that Surette now, so I'm on full health, but I have no ability to restore my health from now on, and that health is going down fast because I'm taking machine gun fire from these guys. Tried to dispatch that boat with a grenade but missed, and now it's out of the range, out of the arc, of that grenade launcher, so now I need to just look at it somewhere behind me. I see they're trying to turn around, they get kind of stuck on the rocks, and I can take them out with a quick burst of fire. But I'm also being shot at from somewhere else. At the moment I couldn't tell where it is. I'm trying to find the enemies. The guy back on that boat gives me a quick burst, and I give him a returning fire burst that takes him out. Another mortar shell comes down, hits the boat but doesn't damage me. That's good, because if it did hit me I could be killed. My health is down to almost half now. I'm going to repair the boat and start moving again. So I know there's pretty much nowhere to hide from the mortar. Shang Yong is just standing there. He is so cool. He doesn't care about the fact the boat's taking mortar fire, and he's not going to be helping. I take a burst of fire from somewhere on the right. My health's now getting pretty damn low. I can see the enemy boat just sneaking away there. I need to take out that boat before they come around again. So I come to the back, take cover at the edge of the boat and take out the guys with carefully aimed bursts of AK-47 fire. It works pretty well. Luckily I've still got tons of ammo for my AK, so we can still fight on for a while. There's more enemies somewhere up ahead. I can't see them, but I can see this tracer fire coming from that direction, so I decide to just bombard the shore in front of me. Then I actually see that the mortar team is there, and that shot I just fired then took out the mortar team, because the last shell coming in left a small smoke trail in the sky, which is probably very hard for you to see, but I basically noticed he was there, took him out, and that boat just passing there got taken out as well with another well-placed grenade. So now things have gone a little bit quiet. I've taken out the mortar team, no more shells raining down, which is going to make things significantly easier, and we're pretty close to the port according to my map. I have no health and no ability to get my health back, so if more enemies show up I would be in trouble, but for the moment nothing's happening. I thought surely more boats are going to spawn, more guys are going to try and hunt me down, or there'll be more guards on the shore, but for now there's nothing. And seeing that there weren't many enemies, I started just trying to find some health. I thought there must be some health somewhere in the boat. I come into this little room, and there is actually a little bit of health on the floor there. This restores my health and gives me a Surette. So now I'm in a little bit of a better condition to continue on. Now the boat is turning into the port. We can see the port in front of us now. That's our destination. So I thought there were going to be tons of enemies on the docks themselves waiting for me. So what I wanted to do was rush up here and grab my dart rifle, which is on the floor, and try and take out any enemies who are in front of us in the port from this little vantage point up here. Looking through my scope, the port itself looks pretty much clear of enemies. So I think I might have actually just completed this mission. There's just a long blank phase at the end of the mission where no more enemies spawn, which is quite strange. Possibly I killed the enemies slightly faster than the game developers had predicted, and I should have been dueling with those boats a bit longer. Luckily the grenades are so effective at taking them out that those boats weren't really a threat. So now we're coming into the port, we're just about there. But just when I thought I was safe, there's some machine gun fire coming from somewhere. It's hitting around me, but I can't tell where it's coming from. I thought it must be somewhere behind us, but I can't see anything at the moment. It's still coming, it looks like it is behind us, and there is a guy sitting on the corner of the boat there. A nice little hiding place for that enemy ship. We take them out, and my objective is updated, which means I've completed this section. So now I need to get onto the part of the mission where I go and warn these people that we've just dumped a whole boatload of weapons in their town, and they can't really be trusted, at least the militiamen can't be trusted to deal with that situation fairly. So stuff is going to start going wrong pretty fast. So I need to rush over to this clinic. It's some sort of doctor's clinic in the middle of town. So we're going to see this town. This is the new hub town and ceasefire area for this zone, Multi-Saleo. Got a pretty nice car hanging around in the bus station. I'm going to take that into town and get our first look at the oasis of peace. That is the ceasefire zone. In the future it will return to being a ceasefire zone, but for now we are going to make this a war zone. So that is unfortunate for the people inside it. And the other problem is that our objective is right in the middle of this ceasefire zone. So we are going to have to be careful about not starting any fights, because it can be pretty much impossible for us to get out without having to run through all of these enemies. Now the town itself looks pretty wealthy. It's actually more developed than Parla. It looks like it's more of a serious location. It's even got a newspaper building here, and the building I'm actually looking for is the doctor's office, which is right in front of me here. It's marked as an underground location on the map, which means in the future if I come back to this building it'll be a source of malaria pills for me, which makes sense since it's a doctor's clinic. So let's head in. As I enter, there's some guy walking around. He just blanks me and walks past. I don't know what's up with him, so I'm going to continue on. I spotted some health on the wall. Very happy to find this. Get my threats back up to full. Excellent news. Now here's the doctor I'm supposed to be warning.
Sir, do you require medical care? No man is immune to malaria, no matter where you come from. I'm Obua. I'm the only doctor here. But that's not why you came. I'm sorry. It's just that we see so many foreign mercenaries. God, even this ceasefire was too much to ask for. At least you brought that to warn us. Perhaps I judged too hastily. Sir, I would like to help you. You must know that medicine is in short supply, but there are other altruists like yourself. If you return here when it is calm, I will be happy to introduce you. There is a way for you to get some bags. Come back later.
Hey, take the back exit safer back there.
So he did notice me after all and gives me some advice. I need to get out the back door of this clinic because fighting has started outside. The APR and the UFLL are already going at it. Now I need to get out of here, even if that means shooting my way out, as I feared it might. Now I saw this little alleyway and thought this could lead to a secret exit, but actually it's just a courtyard, so I have to go back the way I came. And now the only way I can go is through the main zone of the fight. I take out that guy, start rushing this way, and there's tons of guys standing around here. A bunch of them start targeting me. I try to just run past them. Luckily they're missing completely half the time. I'm still taking fire and almost dead. I find a little corner to start healing myself up in. But I'm aware those guys are probably following me, and one of them's probably standing behind me right now. In fact, there is. Take him out with a quick burst. There are more guys. I take out the second one. I'm pretty down low on health, but I managed to get a Surrette in and I'm back up to full. So now I can just escape the situation entirely. I start running. I think the guys are being distracted from me by the fact that other faction members are trying to kill them. So luckily they don't pursue me as I rush out of the town through this little garbage dump, and I found this boat which is going to let me escape. There are still a couple of guys actually chasing me as I go, but the boat should get me away to safety, although I am taking fire. Luckily it's not enough to stop me. Let's see who's on the phone.
Yeah, it's Shanyang. I think I'm in trouble. I've got gunboats chasing me. I gotta get rid of this barge. I'm on the far side of the lake. Come meet me.
So now Shang Yong, the guy driving the boat, is in trouble and has called me to help him. I don't remember giving him my phone number, but fine. So we have to go and help him because this guy is our new buddy. All of the rest of our buddies are gone. We have to assume that they were killed during the APR's uprising back over in Parla. They made a last stand at Mike's bar, and we have no idea how it went, but we also haven't heard from them either. So for now, Frank is on his own apart from this Shang Yong guy, and actually that guy we just met in the clinic is Marty Alankar. He's also a guy who can be your buddy, though for now we haven't had much interactions with him, but we might see him later. So we do need to go and save Shang Yong, so at least we're not completely on our own. And it seems that Shang Yong has some level of connection to the Jackal, since he was able to get hold of a giant barge of the Jackal's weapons. So in terms of achieving Frank's goal, it's good too.
I'm stuck in this stupid barge. You guys are shooting at me from shore. I'm totally pissed. You gotta come help me quick.
So just to really hammer it home, Shang Yong phones again to reiterate the message. So I am going to go after him. He's somewhere on the southeast section of the map. Let's go and find him. Rourke said that people often told him to forget his past and personal life and just live for the cause, live to achieve the purpose of the struggle, and that if you thought like that you would be much happier. But, Rourke went on to say with a shake of his head, doing that wasn't natural. It destroys a person. He told me I could not forget what I'd left behind, and I should not try to ignore it, only to accept it and even justify it through what I do in the future. The way he saw it, the people he had let down would thank him one day for his part in the struggle. I asked him what would happen if they didn't. He laughed at me and said, well then fuck 'em. I couldn't help but laugh too, feeling the weight of my guilt fall away. We drank and laughed more on the topic. I started cursing my family and the English for making me into a sorry mess, drawing toasts from around the room. Someone busted out a guitar, another guy a harmonica, and soon enough it was a Republican anthem sing-along. It was an unfamiliar happiness to be there with them, and actually made me feel a great sense of relief, as this was exactly the kind of thing I had hoped would happen in my escape, finding a bunch of outcasts with the same sorry lives who could help me suck it up and carry on. By the end of the night, the spirit of the IRA plight had lifted me up, and I finally felt ready to determine my own path again, reminding me of those feelings I had when I left Garrison. I wasn't completely over my fears, but standing out on deck the next day in the warm Mediterranean sun, I was finding it much easier to forget the past. but the relaxation came to a swift end when Ko showed up and ordered everyone to start unpacking the boxes of ammunition and loading them into the weapons. Apparently the market was so tight that having the unique selling point of the guns already being ready to kill right away was worth it, despite the obvious danger of getting paid for the shipment in bullet wounds. Wherever these weapons were bound for, they needed them pretty damn badly if they didn't even have time to load them. Or at least I thought that until Ko explained that actually half the people who'd be using these weapons don't even know how to load them. He ignored my puzzled look. I couldn't imagine a situation where people who didn't even know how to fight would be willing to pay money to get a chance at it. Soon enough, I'd see enough to imagine it in more detail than anyone could bear. So I found Shang Yong's barge. I can hear gunfire up ahead. I wanted to see if I could see any enemies. There was one guy right there. I missed him very closely with a silence shot. Tried to fire at him with my pistol, but he ends up going behind that little pillar there, so I can barely see him. There are more guys on the right over on the shore. I throw a grenade, but it's too short. It doesn't reach the boat, unfortunately. I decide to take to the machine gun mounted on my boat and see what I can do. There's a few guys through the portholes there who I can take out. Now I'm starting to fire randomly at the shore. I can see there are guys there, but it's quite hard to spot them individually. So I'm trying to just cut them down with bursts of fire, hoping that spray and pray method, will take out a whole bunch of them. I finish off the guys who are actually on the boat. Now it's just the guys on the shore to worry about. They seem to have noticed me and have shifted fire towards my position, but they're using shotguns by the looks of it, and I'm too far away to actually get hit. I was thinking I need to get closer, so I was going to move the boat, but actually it's pretty busted up, so I decided not to bother. I wondered if I could take out a couple of guys by sniping with my AK, which has worked in the past. I've also got one dart left, so I thought I might as well use it. And as I zoom in, I can see there's actually loads of guys over there standing right next to each other, so I need to get in there and finish them off, really. I thought I could try and get onto the actual barge. I thought it might let me climb up the back here, but it turns out it doesn't, so I came around to the left side. This boat hanging here, it's quite useful though, because I can climb up onto this boat and then jump off the boat onto the barge. The enemy have definitely seen me now. They're starting to fire at me from the shore. I wonder if there's any good cover here. The problem is I've been outflanked on my right there, and there's another guy behind me firing at me on the docks, whilst the guys on the shore continue to unload. So since I'm feeling a bit insecure, I'm going to move back to the end of the boat where I'm pretty well covered. I can restore my health and get my weapons loaded. I'm still taking fire because people are sneakily shooting through the holes in the wall there. I managed to take out an enemy like that. The guy who's behind me gets a cheeky shot as well, and I take him out. So now there must only be 1 or 2 enemies left. I started venturing out to try and hunt them down. I still can't quite see them though. I spot some movement and take a guy out in the distance. The objective hasn't completed, so there's still someone else somewhere in the area. As I move up, I spot some movement on the right, and there is indeed a guy on those steps. I take him down. The objective is still not complete. There's another guy somewhere, so I'm now struggling to actually see where this guy is. I was hoping he might try and fire at me to make himself known. Looks like he's not going to though, so I'm going to have to go hunting. I'm going to jump off the boat and try and get onto the land, assuming he's somewhere among the buildings. Luckily you can jump right across, and as I do, the guy does reveal himself. He was actually standing right in front of me. I have no idea why I didn't see him before. I guess it was just a blind spot, or perhaps he was just very well camouflaged. So with him taken down, the objective is complete, and now I have to go back and speak to Shang Yong, who's still hiding in the cabin up there and distinctly not helping me out at all. So let's see what he has to say for himself.
You found me. Gunboats chased me down. Totally fucked. I'm getting rid of this barge. Maybe take a look around this dump.
So he wants to look around this dump, as he calls it. It actually looks pretty nice, this area. It's got a nice waterfall on the approach that we saw on the way in, and a bunch of nice looking buildings. Cheekily found some health on the way out as well, which is good news. I'm going to take some ammunition from all of the dead bodies. There's actually, as you can see on the right here, a Mike's Bar in this location. It turns out Mike's Bar was a chain. It wasn't just an individual building. There is another one. Very curious. I wondered if I could go inside and see if there's anyone in there at the moment. It looks exactly the same as the one over in Parlour as well. It's basically a copy-paste, but you can't go inside, unfortunately. So it looks like I am now free to do what I want. The mission is finally over, and it's time for Frank to decide his own destiny once again, and potentially go back to working for the factions or work for himself. There's also an armory and a weapon shop here, just like with the Mike's Bar back in Parlour, so I can restore my weapons finally and get ready for the adventures ahead. So I'm going to go out and do some stuff on my own, doing some side quests, and once I'm ready, we will return on the next episode of Frank's Penance to see how Frank's journey continues from here.